Hello.
Then, now,
Bow down to the queens.
Episode number 500.
forever.
Looks like hell froze over.
Without any more further ado,
Together.
let's jump straight into the show. Hello, welcome to episode number 208 of the TEW IX Challenge Run. We're here for Monday, the 1st of September, 2025, I refuse to be a full year behind, so, we're finally in August in real life, and I'm in September in the game. But yes, this is the go-home show for Raw's Clash in Paris pay-per-view. We have a number of matches set for that show, including the last time ever John Cena vs. CM Punk. Those two men will have a face-to-face confrontation to close out tonight's show. We also have, set for tonight, Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy, a former WrestleMania match. Now the main event match tonight here on Raw. We have Bianca Belair and Dakota Kai against Liv Morgan and Tiffany Stratton. We have another match I know I announced, but I can't remember what it was. So I'm going to click next. Oh, Joe Hendry's here to have a concert, and then Obafemi and Rey Mysterio. That's it. Yeah, and a whole lot more. So without any more further ado, let's jump straight into the show. The Bloodline kick off the show. Roman Reigns and the Usos come to the ring, because of course last week's show ended with a surprise appearance from the Usos. On the SmackDown before, they'd got a text that was like, hey, come to Raw or whatever. And here them and Roman Reigns stood tall against the Nexus. And Roman comes to them and he goes, Knoxville, Tennessee, acknowledge us. Because you see, at SummerSlam, as much as I don't like to admit this, Paul Heyman, my old wise man, got one over on your tribal chief. Him and Bronson Steiner, they made a ploy, and they betrayed me. But the wise man, Paul, that jackass, he may not have realized the mistake that he made. Because while he's got his new family that he can run around with, and already there's got guys in there that aren't too pleased to have him about, I've got my family. My cousins, my bloodline, and sure, we may have had our issues in the past, but family is family, because Paul, Jimmy, and Jay, they loved you too. They stuck their neck out on the line for you too. So you didn't just betray me. You betrayed Jimmy. You betrayed Jay. Hell, you betrayed Jacob and Solo. Every single one of us. Our entire family. Now Bronson Steiner, he's a badass. Trick Williams, he's got all the charisma. Carmelo Hayes, he don't miss. But those three guys, they ain't gonna be able to protect you from the swarm of a Samoan dynasty. So I spoke to Pierce. Not Pierce, he's a SmackDown GM. Oh, technically he did speak to Pierce, but I spoke to Bobby Roode. And I guess he spoke to Pierce. And it is now official. You keep running your mouth. You keep hiding behind your new friends. That's fine. Because we know where you're going to be Saturday night. It's the same place we're going to be Saturday night. It's going to be Paris, France. At Clash in Paris, Paul. You bring 3 of your guys, and I'll bring myself. I'll bring my family. And we're gonna whip your ass all over Paris and force you to acknowledge us. Then the Nexus come out. Heyman's not with them. Bronson Steiner is the one ordering traffic here. It's him, Carmelo, and Trick. Trick and Miller, they storm into the ring, they get into a fight with the Usos. Bronson Steiner and Roman Reigns, they get into a brawl around ringside. And then eventually, security has to come out and pull them all apart. And Roman and Bronson Steiner, they get sent to the back. But Trick and Mello stay out, so do the Usos, and we have a tag team match to open things up. A little preview of Clash in Paris, I guess. It'll be Trick Mello against Jimmy and Jay to kick off Raw. Gets a fucking 98, holy shit. We live in a world where Jay Uso is, scoring 100s as part of the team. But yeah, it is Trick and Mello, though, who do, I guess, kind of upset the Usos. No, I guess the Usos are the Usos, so whenever they lose a tag team match, it is kind of a big deal. But yeah, Trick and Mello do pick up the win. Trick pins Jimmy Uso with a trick shot in 16:22. 94 for Mello, 80 for Trick, 100 for Jay, 93 for Jimmy. So yeah, I didn't expect that to be that good. But sure, we take those. Speaking of brawls, Bobby Roode, he gets to the back after breaking that shit up, and he sees Jorge, Santana, and Ruca have already found each other, and they continued to brawl in the backstage area, and he snaps, he goes, enough of this, okay? I'm not dealing with any more of this crap tonight. You guys want to beat each other apart, tear each other apart, fine. You can do it in Paris this Saturday. So yeah, Jorge, Santana, and Ruca. That is our pre-show match for Clash in Paris. Because I forgot I didn't announce one. And I was going to do a different match, but I've changed direction on one of the guys involved in it. So, yeah, Ruca and Santana, which was originally going to be a Raw main event, or a Raw match, whatever, is now going to be our pre-show match for Clash in Paris. We then cut backstage to see Ethan Page. He's kind of happy how tonight has gone so far for the Nexus. Because they won their opening match. And then he sees Oba Femi walk past. He goes, hey, big man. And Oba sort of reluctantly stops and looks exasperated. He goes, what do you want? He goes, hey, I'm just, checking, Heyman left me in charge of you since you didn't really want to deal with him. So, you're going up there and you're going to beat Rey Mysterio's ass tonight. And Oba Femi again just, towers over him and goes, what I do is none of your concern. I'll tell you, and you can tell Mr. Heyman, he will need me before I need him. And he just walks off. And he goes, noted, got it, Oba. It's cool. It's fine. I've got it all under control. Heyman, when he comes back and asks, I can tell him it's all good. It's all good. 89, holy fuck. We're kicking off Raw with a bang. Let's see if we can keep getting 89s and 98s all throughout the show. Later on when we see Tola Tonga versus the Tennessee Titan. But for now, Oba Femi and Rey Mysterio. I'm glad this got a high rating because this kind of is a storytelling match as well. Outside of it being, I think Oba and Rey would have a fun match. Rey is of course the only Mysterio that Oba can get his hands on because he has been trying to get his hands on Dominic, but Dominic's been being a pussy. So, we're going to see if there's any man left inside Dominic Mysterio because his own dad, his old man who stuck his neck on the line for Dom when he really shouldn't have after all these years, is getting beat up by Oba Femi here tonight. And Oba does put him down with the fall from grace in 950. 95 for Oba Femi and 71 for Rey Mysterio. But then after the match, Oba stands tall, he strikes the pose, he holds the US title up, and he turns back around to Rey. And he picks Rey up again, hits another power bomb on Rey Mysterio. And, he continues to call out Dominic and go, this is your old man, Dominic, huh? You can jump me from behind, but you run scared of the ruler. And then he continues to attack Rey. Dominic does eventually rush out. He has a chair in his hand, and he gets into the ring, and Oba spots him this time. He sort of just stares at him goes, come on, little boy, hit me. And Dominic, eventually he does sort of look like he wants to hit Oba, but he does slowly back away. And then Oba goes, where are you going? Where are you going, Dominic, huh? It's fine. You can't run forever. Because this Saturday, it's gonna be me and you in Paris for my United States Championship. So if you want to be a man and you can fight the ruler face to face Saturday night, bring whatever chair you want. Bring Ray if he can walk. And I'll see you there, Dom. See, Rey Mysterio has bitten off a lot more than he can chew. And he's been locked into a match with Obafemi for the United States Championship at Clash in Paris. But then come back to the locker room. Tegan and Dakota are in there. They're both sort of getting ready for their match. Because they've both got matches. Dakota's in that aforementioned tag match. And Tegan Nox will face Cora Jade one-on-one. Coming up next. And, Tegan goes, you really sure that what you're doing Saturday night is the right thing? And Dakota goes, well, if it wasn't the right thing, I wouldn't be doing it. And Tegan goes, I appreciate you coming here and, winning your championship and now wanting to find me success, but I think, you might be wearing yourself a bit thin, doing that and defending the Intercontinental Championship. I just don't want you to take this tag match, and then, because of me having this tag match, you lose your championship. He goes, I'll be fine. It's, part of being a champion is you've got to be ready to fight whenever you can, and I may be overwhelmed at times, but how long have we known each other now? You've known me on everything that we've been through, and you've seen everything that I've been through, even recently. I'm going to do what has to be done. Whether it be this, or wherever else. Because otherwise I wouldn't be me. And he goes, wow, that got really deep, really fast. But I was just checking to make sure that, we didn't have any excuses if we lose on Saturday night. And Dakota says, we're not going to lose, okay? I came to Raw to win, and I won this championship. And Saturday night, after all of your standing by me, I'm going to win you yours too. And Tegan, she walks off, and Tegan's there, just camera slinging. I'm like, yeah, let's fucking go. Drew McIntyre promo. He's backstage. He goes, congrats, LA Knight, LA Knight, LA Knight. That's all I heard for all these years is LA Knight. And you did it. I don't know why you still have this chip on your shoulder after all these years when you became World Heavyweight Champion. I had to leave and come back to become World Champion, to become the man that I had to be. But yet you still harbor this resentment of the fact that these people chose, or the people in this company chose me all those years ago. Well, newsflash, no one's had it worse in this company than I have, okay? You don't know the humiliation of being paraded around as the chosen one, with everybody saying that you're going to be a future world champion. But then, not 5 years later, you get fired for not doing a good enough job, apparently, because you're in the middle of being a member of a pretend band, singing around and playing air guitar. And I did that damn well, but they fired me, and I had to come back, and I had to become world champion in spite of being the chosen one. But you, LA Knight, you just see Drew McIntyre, all the success I've had, being paraded around as the chosen one in all these years, and all of everything that's come between, and you just see what you want to be. Because deep down, LA Knight, you can put on this fake facade, you can put the sunglasses on, you can have these people chant your name and your catchphrases. But you're not Drew McIntyre, you're not me, which is exactly where you think you deserve to be. That's fine. That's why I took you out, LA Knight. It's not because you're unchosen and I'm chosen. It's because I'm getting my spot back. And you can listen to this because I do mean it. You're a threat to my spot. And part of that, of me keeping my spot, isn't just to beat LA Knight. No, it's to expose to all the people that did choose LA Knight that you're nothing but talk. Because I got to the top, not by being the chosen one, by putting in and busting my ass all those years outside of the company, just like you did. Let's see how you handle rock bottom. 87. Good little match. Tegan Nox and Cora Jade. Tegan actually picks up the win here. Cora is on top most of the match. And then, I don't want to say in the rafters, because that is a bit too... Like, I guess this kind of is low-key her Crow Sting era. But I don't want to go too Sting with it. But, so I guess just out in the stands, the Man Insane just watches on, you know. And Cora Jade sort of sees her watching, and that distracts her. She turns around, Tegan hits the Shining Wizard, and picks up the win. So, Tegan with the momentum, heading into the triple threat match for the tag titles at Clash in Paris, pinning one of the former champions, Cora Jade. 82 for Tegan, 85 for Cora, and yeah, fun little match. Hype video, John Cena and CM Punk, this Saturday at Clash in Paris. This is their history video package. Obviously, it goes over Money in the Bank. Goes over, even before Money in the Bank, it goes over, like, the stuff in the Nexus and fucking all that shit. John Cena coming in, or CM Punk coming into ECW when John Cena was on top of his game and all that stuff. And then goes over all of their history through 2012, 2013, the Raw match, which to this point is their most recent match together. But that will change this Saturday night. John Cena and CM Punk clash in Paris. WWE Championship on the line. John Cena is the 17-time champion. Will CM Punk get the championship back after he lost it at WrestleMania? We then cut to the ring. And I forgot to... This is... Ignore the Tennessee Titan, okay? I mean, you can't see the screen. I put him in this segment before I changed some things up. He's not supposed to still be here. But Joe Hendry is in the ring. Just by himself with guitars and, you know, doing Joe Hendry stuff. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks ago, fans of Monday Night Raw were blessed by the arrival of the local hero, Joe Hendry, the prestigious one. You've all heard the hype. You've all heard the songs. And I know you all want to be a part of the magic. Because Joe Hendry is bringing something new to Monday Night Raw that you've not seen in a long time. And my ideals and my goals here on Monday Night Raw are pretty simple. On Monday Night Raw, I want to be the best. On Monday Night Raw, I want to reach the top. On Monday Night Raw, I will be a champion. So to celebrate the prestigious one coming to the flagship, I wrote a song here about Monday Night Raw. I used to be scared to take the next step, scared to speak up and get a bad rep, so I stayed grinding on the UK indie scene. I guess that I forgot to use my voice, play my songs and heard the crowd rejoice. I started from nothing, now I have everything. You held me down, but I got up, already brushing off the dust. You hear my voice, you hear my song, you couldn't help but sing along. You held me down, but I got up. Now Joe Hendry doesn't give up. Been through it all, look at me now. I'm gonna keep climbing higher, desire the crowd as my choir, 'cause I'll be the champion. Now Joe Hendry's here on Raw. Better than Elias, 'cause I'll be the champion. Now Joe Hendry's here on Raw. Joe Hendry's here on Raw. Turning myself into a top guy, playing my guitar, I found my why. I went from zero to the local hero. You held me down, but I got up, already pushing off the dust. You hear my voice, you hear my song, you couldn't help but sing along. You held me down, but I got up. No, Joe Hendry doesn't give up. Been through it all, look at me now. I'm gonna keep climbing higher. Desire the crowd as my choir, 'cause I'll be the champion. Now Joe Hendry's here on Raw. Better than Elias, 'cause I'll be the champion. Now Joe Hendry's here on Raw. Joe Hendry's here on Raw. Joe Hendry's here on Raw. Raw, 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 raw. Sing along, everybody. I'm gonna keep climbing higher. Desire the crowd as my choir, 'cause I'll be the champion. Now Joe Hendry. Chris Jericho interrupts him, and Jericho sort of gets a little bit of booze because people loving the song, and he's like, I get it, but Joe, I was in the back there, man. I was listening to you, and this song and all of it. You were hitting those notes and you were performing. You had this crowd in the palm of your hands, and I loved every second of it. You see, Joe, when Chris Jericho came back, revived earlier this year, part of what I did and what I wanted to come back on was to create a legacy in this industry that can live on even when I'm not here. And Joe Hendry, I like what I hear from you, kid. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm something of a musician myself. I'm something of a rock star myself. And Joe, what I heard tonight, you would do great on the next Fozzy album. So how about it, Joe? You bring those musical talents and I'll bring my rock star good looks and attitude. And we can create our own dynasty, our own rock band here on Monday Night Raw. And Joe Hendry looks around, the crowd's going, yes, yes, yes. He goes, so what you're saying is, Joe Hendry, Chris Jericho, together here on Monday Night Raw. And Jericho goes, now you're starting to see it my way, Joe. I spoke to Bobby Roode. And next week, we're going to get this Jericho-Hendry team rocking and rolling. And we're going to take Monday Night Raw by storm. So, of course, Joe Hendry, not the only rock star here on Raw. Chris Jericho, he likes what he sees in Joe Hendry. And they're going to have a tag team match next week. Jericho, I guess. Jozzy. Whatever we want to call him. Oh, I couldn't not do Jericho and Hendry. It wrote itself, sadly. Then cut to Anne-Marie Porter and Tiffany Stratton in their locker room. Tiffany's getting ready for the tag match. And I goes, I can't believe that I'm being forced to team with her. And Anne-Marie goes, this ain't okay, I get it. But, Mariah, she really likes this girl, and I guess it could be fun. And then Mariah May does walk in, and she walks in with Liv. She goes, Olivia, I'd like you to meet Tiffany. And then Liv goes, I've heard so much about you, Tiff. I heard that you're Mariah's close friend. Tiffany goes, we've been friends for a long time, and you have come in here and I see you've captured Mariah's heart. And Liv goes, ha 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 ha. Well, okay, I see what this is. tonight isn't about you. I know you think you're the center of the universe, but it's not about you. Tonight's about me getting what I need. Okay, and I'll team with you for our Mariah. And you can deal with Bianca Belair all you want. But leave Dakota and that championship from me. Okay, because that is my championship. And Tiffany goes, okay, well, sure it'll be fun out there. And Mariah goes, look at you two hitting it off. Isn't it great? And they sort of just both glare at her. And she goes, oh, it's weird. But yeah, there's some weird tensions between Mariah and or Tiffany and Liv ahead of this tag team match tonight. Dakota and Bianca will be on the same page, presumably. You know, they bonded together by their hatred of Candice. But these two are having some petty squabbles about friendship. That's what we'll call it. 70 rating. The Tennessee Titan versus Tolo Tonga. Yeah, I didn't call him Mr. Knoxville this week because technically there's no team in Knoxville apart from like weird like college football teams. Again, I don't know enough about American sports, but like they feel like they're a step below like NFL and NHL and NBA and shit. So he's the Tennessee Titan. He has the Tennessee Titans custom belt. And he gets his ass beat by Tolo Tonga, who pins him with the head shrinker in 5:41. 61 for the Tennessee Titan, 70 for Tolo Tonga. I know you're getting PTSD with this random Tolo Tonga thing, but I want to give him a couple of wins because he's part of something coming up. Speaking of part of something coming up, but not quite yet, and speaking of dominance, the Megasis. She's bringing hell from the heavens. And it's a video package going over her dominance. You know, she's picked up a couple of squash wins on Raw since coming over. And she's going to continue to rain down and bring hellfire from above as the divine goddess. We then see Dakota. Dakota's in Gorilla, you know, ready for the match. And the Tennessee Titan, you know, we see him getting taken to the back. Like, as he passes Dakota, you know, Dakota sort of stops and goes, "You good?" And he goes, "I'm okay. Thanks. Took a bit of a beating out there." And he just gets carried away and Dakota sort of shrugs her shoulders and goes, "Huh, okay." And then Bianca does walk in. She also sort of like side-eyes him as he gets taken away. And Dakota goes, "Not a good night for Knoxville natives, huh?" Bianca goes, "Oh yeah, well, it's the Tennessee Titan, okay, like, we don't know that guy, we don't even know if he's actually from Knoxville. Part of me thinks he's not. But anyway, tonight, my people are out there waiting for us, okay, my people are out there waiting for this." And I saw Tiffany and Liv, they had a little spat earlier on, so looking good out there, and as long as nobody gets out there and gets involved in our business, tonight's going to be one hell of a homecoming for the EST. Her music hits and she leaves through to head to the ring, where it will be her and Dakota taking on Liv Morgan and Tiffany Stratton. 88 rated match. Good match, yes, we'll take that. We're continuing the good match trend after the Tennessee Titan versus Talatonga sort of brought us down. But yes, unfortunately for Bianca, she said unless nobody gets involved and causes us to fuck up. That does happen. Because Amory and Mariah are at ringside with Tiffany and Liv. And they are just being nuisances during the match, which prompt Sasha Banks and Bayley to rush out and help out Dakota and Bianca, because they sort of, well, Bayley and Bianca specifically are like sort of now they've had their petty squabbles and sorted it out, are now obviously aligned and on the same page. So Bianca, and obviously they're teaming against Dakota at the pay-per-view. So they come out, which then leads to Cora and Roxy coming out, and there's a whole schmoz with all the tag teams at ringside. And Bayley, she tries to swing back and hit one of Cora Roxy. She accidentally clocks Dakota with the championship. And Liv Morgan pins her with the Oblivion. 83 for Tiffany, 89 for Liv, 95 for Bianca, and 91 for Dakota. So yeah, Liv has pinned Dakota here tonight. Liv gets the win in Knoxville over Bianca Belair, technically. Oy vey. But Bayley, you know, the camera shows Bayley at ringside. She's like, ah, shit. Fuck. But yeah, chaos does ensue, and the heels do pick up the win, and despite it all their petty squabbles, and their eyes being elsewhere, they do win. Tiffany and Liv do pick up the win. We then cut backstage. The Man Insane, she's walking through the hallway, and she's stopped by Billy and Kelly. And Kelly goes, Bex, before you go, I need to speak to you about something. Becky just sort of just says, because Becky hasn't spoken since, you know, coming back at I call her Becky. The Man Insane hasn't spoken since coming back at SummerSlam. And Kelly goes, I understand that you need to get back at Lyra, and we all want Lyra to have her mouth shut, and we're all rooting for you in Paris. But this isn't you, okay? Becky Stardust, that became you, and you did great. But Lyra beat Becky Stardust, and the way you are right now, I'm sorry to say, Lyra's probably still going to have the better of you at Clash in Paris. And Becky just glares at Kelly and like sort of like gets in her face. But he goes, what she's saying is, we love you and we want you to win. And we thank you for everything that you did for us. But Becky Stardust, Man Insane, are we sure that this is the way to get back at Lyra? To wear Lyra's betrayal on your sleeve? I mean, you're more established than us, and you're more successful than us, so you'll know better than me, I guess, but from the outside looking in, you seem... your head's not right. This doesn't seem like the Becky we knew. And they both walk off. Becky just watches them leave. Lyra does jump her from behind. Continues to jump her, beats her up, and she goes, wow! For the first time in a long time, Kelly has actually said something good. She's right. You aren't gonna win at Clash in Paris. This isn't you. This is an embarrassment. But keep being the embarrassment. Keep showing the world that your days are done. And that my days are only just beginning. See you Saturday, Man Insane. Lyra, for the record, I just want to throw it out there. My Lyra and current real life Lyra are not the same character, really. Like, I think she's doing okay as the sort of crazy character, but like that's not the vibe that my heel Lyra is. She's more sort of like, well, just a bitch, I guess, but she does still have like the Raven aesthetic and shit. But yeah, so like, just so we're clear, and like if you're imagining that version of Lyra in your head, like that's not really what she is to me. She's just sort of, you know, the Raven Queen, the same bird girl that we knew and loved, but now she's a bitch. Then see ABC backstage with Damian Priest and Buddy Murphy. Oh no, sorry, just Buddy Murphy to start with. And they're talking to Buddy Murphy, talking about Priest. He goes, you sure what Priest is doing is the right thing? You know, Seth, he was there for you for like through a lot. It's the same way Punk was to us, and for him to just turn his back on Seth like that after he was only trying to help, it seems weird. And Buddy goes, Damian, he's trying to guide us. He wants us all to be successful once again. And at Clash in Paris, we'll find out if he is doing the right thing. Because if we win those tag team championships, then I guess he was right. Then Priest does walk in. He goes, "Thank you, buddy. You know, over the past couple of weeks, I've been starting to get concerned that you might not see things my way. You might still be a bit too loyal to Seth. But just like these two are far too loyal to Punk, who doesn't give a shit about them. It's time for guys like us to band together. Time for guys like us to take out the old guard at the top, because none of them ever cared about you. We were only ever pawns in their game. Even back as the Monday Night Messiah, you think Seth was really looking after us? There's a reason that me and Buddy left that place in the first place. Chris, Ace, sooner or later I hope you realize the exact same thing with you and Punk, because Punk only brought you into the antidote so we have more bodies to throw at us." And Priest walks off, and he takes Buddy. Buddy leaves with him, and Ace and Chris Bay like, you know? What is the right move? Do we stay with Punk? Because Punk has sort of just, moved on and forgotten about them. 69 rated match. Lash Legends Raw in-ring debut against Chelsea Green. Lash picks up the win in 8:46 with the Lash extension. 61 for Lash, 58 for Chelsea. And yeah, Lash Legend with a win on her Raw debut. And then after the match, she grabs the microphone. And she goes, "Monday Night Raw, the bougie bully era is upon us." And you don't even have to explain myself. I'm here to make a statement. I'm here to waste no time in getting to the top, because Lash Legend is the one and only, and I am a future world champion here in WWE. And to get that top spot, I gotta take it from somebody, and that's Charlotte Flair. Charlotte, nothing personal. You're just in my way. And then Charlotte comes out and she goes, "Wow, Lash, this is very bold of you. I do really respect it, because I've always seen a lot in you. I was always excited for when you'd make it up to Raw, and you and I could finally go at it. And that's going to be this Saturday in Paris, in your first premium live event, Lash. But there's a lot of things they can't teach you in NXT. I mean, they can teach you the basics and how to wrestle and really create superstars to take over this roster. But what they can't teach is a good mind. And there's a reason why you came after me, and I know it is because I'm the queen. I'm a 14-time world champion. But what you didn't know is it isn't the smartest move. Because I'm looking to get that back to that top spot, that spot that I've not had for a long ass time. And Lash, you're in my way too. And then she gets into the ring, her and Lash have a brawl. And, Charlotte boots Lash in the face. Lash rolls out of the ring, walks through the crowd, backs away from Charlotte. And yeah, Charlotte Flair stands tall, and her and Lash Legend will face off at Clash in Paris. Lash in Paris. We then cut backstage. Bayley is, she's walking through the hallway, and we hear, "Hey, Bayley." And she turns around to Dakota's Edge. She goes, "What was that out there?" Because, "Look, I knew you were going to come here. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you." Because I've heard it, okay? But it seems awfully convenient because nobody actually invited you to come out there tonight. I know that we're in this tag team match on Saturday against each other. But you came out there. We didn't ask for your help. We didn't need your help. But there was Bayley making things worse, sticking her nose in places where it shouldn't have been. And lo and behold, I lost and I got hit. So you can sit here and you can pretend that meant nothing. But that would be to pretend that we meant nothing. And I know, seeing me back on your show, when I was over on SmackDown doing my thing, saving that place, and you were over here on Raw, I was happy for you. But now I'm back on your show and guess you can't handle it. And Betty goes, "Listen, it was a mistake, okay? We all make mistakes. And if you're going to take this so personally, then maybe Tegan was right. Maybe Tegan was right. Maybe you're not ready for 2 matches this Saturday night if you have bitten off a lot more than you can chew. Because if you're going to get so emotional over a mistake, then what are you going to do on Saturday night when we beat you straight up? And then you're going to defend against Liv. I'm sorry, Dakota. I just... frustrations. And... we've got a big match coming up on Saturday night, but I do think that, I do appreciate I do apologize for what we did, and I was hoping that when you came to Raw, we could sort of mend things again, because obviously I also have my issues with certain other people, and I do see the good in you. I do think you're doing the right thing, and even when you were in Damage Control, I guess it was that part of you that pissed me off, because at the time I was the one doing the wrong thing. And now we're both succeeding, we're both champions, doing things our own way, and I'd hate for one petty issue to get in the middle of that. Okay, goes, no, you're right. Maybe I am too emotional. She just walks off. Next week is the fallout from Clash in Paris. Obviously, we don't know much from that show because obviously the pay-per-view is coming up and we will determine it on that. But we do know one match following the tag team match earlier on tonight with all that mess in it. Anne-Marie Porter and Mariah May of the Blonde Barbies Alliance will get a shot at the Women's Tag Team Championships next week. Whoever the champions are, whether it be Sasha and Bayley, Tegan and Dakota, or Cora and Roxy, whoever the champions are will face Anne-Marie and Mariah May next week on Raw. Plus, Joe Hendry and Chris Jericho, they will be in tag team action next week after they bonded over Joe Hendry's concert earlier on tonight. And the former WWE champion Chad Gable returns to Monday Night Raw, and he's going to probably have a lot to say after his loss at SummerSlam, but his first time he's physically been on the show since SummerSlam, next week on Raw. Plus, the final match is set for Clash in Paris this Saturday night. The first is a 6-man tag team match. It'll be Roman Reigns and the Usos teaming up against the Nexus trio of Bronson Steiner, Carmelo Hayes, and Trick Williams following the Wise Man's betrayal at SummerSlam. Plus, it is now official, Dominic Mysterio cannot run anymore. It's Dominic, it's Obafemi, it's the United States Championship at Clash in Paris, and the premium live event debut of the Bougie Bully, Lash Legend, will take place this Saturday night in Paris, and her first pay-per-view opponent is the Queen, Charlotte Flair. 92 rated main event. Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. WrestleMania 37 rematch. That's how long this series has been going. WrestleMania 37 has My Law attached to it. But yes, Seth does pick up the win of a Buddy here tonight with a curb stomp. Damian Priest, he tries to get involved. Cody is out there, of course, as well. But he sort of just is hands off because he's Cody Rhodes. He doesn't need to get involved. I know real life Cody would get involved because they don't know how to book babyface aces. But Cody will sit there and just watch and only get involved if he needs to get involved, and he doesn't. And Seth wins. 94 for Seth, 78 for Buddy Murphy. And if that is, of course, what happens this Saturday night, then Seth and Cody will retain the tag team championships. But they get into the ring. Seth Rollins is standing tall, his music's playing, Cody Rhodes is in there. They raise their championships up high. Crowd singing Seth's song. They both leave up the ramp. They're both slapping, high-fiving fans in the front row as they walk up the ramp. When CM Punk's music hits. And Punk walks out onto the stage. Smile on his face, shit-eating grin. Seth Rollins is, of course, just pissed off at the sight of this man. And Punk sort of just gets into the face of Seth, just smiling at him as Cody, is trying to play peacemaker between the two and, trying to get Seth to, okay, just go to the back. And Punk sort of, waves him goodbye as he walks past, and Seth is fucking livid. But CM Punk is making his way out to the ring. Him and John Cena will go face-to-face up next. 98 segment. CM Punk is in the ring to start. as he come back from the break. And he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, boy, is it great to be alive on a Monday night in Knoxville, Tennessee, or what?" Now, I do feel great. I feel alive and I feel fantastic. Why? Well, you know why, but for those of you living under a rock, this Saturday night is Clash in Paris. And this Saturday night, I get to take part in a match I've wanted for a long time. A match that I thought, when I came back to WWE, might not be possible anymore. But it's here, and it's now, and it's the match you've all wanted. John Cena versus CM Punk. Now, we saw the video earlier on tonight that showed me and John's history, but that's not even all of the history between myself and John. That goes back even further than that. It goes back to when I first came to WWE, to ECW, and John Cena was there. And John Cena, he was on top of the world, and he still took the time to speak to a guy like me and belittle me. John Cena, after I became World Heavyweight Champion for the very first time, he came to me backstage, he shook my hand, and what did he say? He didn't say, "Good job, kid." He didn't say, "I knew you'd make it, Punk." He looked me dead in my eyes and said, "I almost gave up on you." And I held that resentment inside for 3 more years and let John have it in 2011, in 2012, in 2013. And myself and John, we've grown respectful of one another over the years. But I would never call John a friend. And John Cena, after spending nearly 20 years of his career trying to kill guys like me, guys that he was worried would take his spot, is now coming out here pretending that this 17th championship run is going to be the one that will help the future generations, is going to be the one for those who follow in his footsteps. All of a sudden, I'm supposed to believe there's been a change in attitude. All of a sudden, I'm supposed to believe that John Cena cares about anybody else. When I became WWE Champion, I was doing it to cure this place of a poison that John Cena let seep into this company. By being happy to be here, by laughing, and by smiling, and by doing whatever he was told to do. Meanwhile, guys like me, guys like Alex Riley, guys like JTG, guys like Kenny Dykstra, all these guys over the years who have got horror stories about bumping into John Cena. They don't get a voice. They don't get to speak about how John Cena became the man he is. For all of you pointing your fingers at me since I came back here, John Cena is and will always be the one true corporate puppet. And John, as much as I'm looking forward to this match, as much as I respect you, as much as I'll shake your hand once it's done and hug and tell you I'm gonna miss you when you're gone, all of which are true, I can't let you win. I can't let you continue to be WWE Champion because that's what they want. And more importantly, John, and then John Cena cuts him off. And Cena comes to the mic, to the ring, and he goes, "Fine speech, Punk. You never do change. And that's what I admire about you. You're going to come out here and you're going to speak your mind. You're going to come out here and you're going to tell everybody how you feel. But that's the difference between you and I. You come out here and you tell all these people about your feelings. I come out here and tell them about reality. And the reality is, John Cena and CM Punk, you and I, we're together like this. In the minds of all these people, you ask all these people who John Cena's greatest opponent was, a lot of them will have a lot of different answers, but most of them will say you. And that's why this match is in such high demand. That's why this match must happen. But for you to dig 15 years into the past and try and paint me as this boogeyman, nah, these people are beyond that now. These people, they know better than that. I'm not saying I'm spotless, because nobody is. I've had my fair share of bad moments too, but the fact of the matter is, what makes me me is that I get up and I go out there and I am the best version of myself. I am the WWE Champion right now, not because I was positioned to be the WWE Champion, but because I became it, because I fought from rock bottom. When I thought I was going to have to call this thing off 3 months ago because I couldn't do it anymore, I scratched and clawed back to the top. Why? Not for WWE. Not for even myself. But for these people. These people who wanted to see me finish out the entire year. These people who wanted to see John Cena versus CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, you name it. Those are the people why I am here, why I am the WWE Champion. And when a man is man enough to take this championship from me, I will shake that man's hand and tell him that he did a good job and that the company is in good hands without me around. That's what I mean by this being about those who come after me, Punk. It's not about elevating other guys like you tried to claim your championship reign was. It's about being the benchmark. The guy who beats me takes the championship. It could be you. It could be somebody even older than me. It could be a guy like Rey Mysterio. It could be someone younger than me, like a Roman Reigns or a Seth Rollins. Or it could be the new generation, a guy like Oba Femi or Trick Williams. But that's the beauty of this business. And that's what you, deep down, truly don't get. Because I'm here to defend you, Punk. For a lot of people, they say CM Punk is a hypocrite. A lot of people say CM Punk sold out by coming back here and fighting and politicking his way to a top spot. I don't. I respect you for actually sticking to your word that you sat down on that stage in Vegas 14 years ago and said. Because the pipe bomb was never about elevating anybody but you. Your gripes weren't that younger wrestlers weren't getting the opportunity. Your gripes was that CM Punk specifically wasn't getting that opportunity, and now you are in the position where you have those opportunities, you have those WrestleMania main events, and you get that legacy. And I'm not going to take that from you. But in Paris, France, you're walking into a hostile environment. You're walking into a crowd that's going to see John Cena one last time as WWE Champion. I need to know if you're going to be man enough to swing. Punk just smiles and goes, I'm going to be man enough to swing. I'm going to be man. Punk, Cena, I've been practicing for this match for the last 6 months. I'm more than ready. Because here's the check. The one thing that you didn't mention, you mentioned all our history, you didn't go over our records, John. Every single time you and I have faced off on a premium live event, who wins? Me. And Paris is going to be no exception. But you cut me off before I was finished. Because we've aired our grievances now. Allow me to get back to what I was saying, John. Most importantly of all, I've been to hell and I've stared the devil in its eyes. I'm Dr. Frankenstein. I've seen my monster. And that monster, right now, is walking around here on Monday Night Raw with Paul Heyman by his side and a Money in the Bank briefcase in his hand. At any moment, that monster that I created could bring your little retirement tour and your fairy tale championship run to an end. And then it wouldn't have been earned by someone who deserved that spot, John. Then it would have been stolen. And John, we may be same age, so I'm not going to call you a fragile old man. That would be very hypocritical of me. But what I am going to say is I'm here doing this day in, day out, and you're the one wrapping things up in 4 months. If there's anybody equipped to handle the oncoming assault and onslaught of a badass like Bronson Steiner and his inevitable chase for that championship, it's going to be me. The man who brought him to this level. And that's why I have to beat you, John. It all comes back in the end, not to you and I, but to that, and what's best for that. And as good of a moment as SummerSlam was, and I was out there with you, and we hugged, and I had tears in my eyes, that was a moment, not a reign. You've got your moment. But on Saturday, the reign that came with that moment ends. And you can go on to fulfill the rest of your retirement tour. You can face all those guys that you want to face. But I will say you might want to make a stop over to SmackDown and tell Swerve Scott why he might not be entitled to a championship match. You might want to stop by ECW and tell anyone over there who might to face John Cena for the championship why they may not be getting a championship match. And it's because the fact is what it always has been. CM Punk is better than John Cena. Mic drop. Clash in Paris. 6 days away. '98 show. Sure. I might as well tell you thought of the show. Do know what you thought in the comments below, and I'll see you on the other side for Heat. Heat kicks off with an 80 rated tag match. That's pretty good for Heat standards. Jade Cargill and Jada Parker, again, back on Heat. I'll find something for them to do eventually. It's just all of my divisions are stacked right now. Like, in terms of, I'm like 3 weeks into the new rosters, and I've done a lot of shake-ups, and I need to keep the people that got shook up. I know Jade and Jada technically got shook up to SmackDown, but we don't know that yet, quote unquote. But yeah, divisions are stacked because I've got people I need to keep on, and then I've got new debuts as well. So all of these women have sort of like fallen to the wayside since SummerSlam. So we're going to give them a tag team match here on Heat. Jade and Jada do pick up the win. Jade pins Fia in 14:04. 61 for Fia, 82 for Alexa, 58 for Jada, 81 for Jade. Sure, nice little match. Decent, I don't want to view being on Heat, like, I said this is a rant in and of itself, but I think to a certain degree, wrestling on, well, main event in real life, but my Heat as well, I don't particularly want that to be seen as a demotion. Like, obviously I don't expect Cody Rhodes to rock main event, but like, it's either they wrestle on main event or they don't wrestle at all. And like, because they don't book people that wrestled on Raw on it. So like, it's either they wrestle on main event and get some reps in and maybe have a cool match with somebody lower on the card, or they don't wrestle at all. And like, in what reality is not wrestling at all, the better of the two options there. Unless, you know, they put IYO on main event and she breaks her leg. Or some shit like that. But, yeah, so, like, Jade and Alexa, you know, just still getting their reps in on Heat, is what I want to say. But, like, they are still, like, important parts of the division. We then get Alicia Sanford interviewing Kendall Gray. Because Heat also does allow us to spotlight NXT wrestlers. And Kendall has been on fairly regularly on Heat. She had a feud with Zoe Stark. And, you know, she's now talking about why she's back on Heat. We did just see Lash Legend basically use Heat as a avenue to branch herself onto Raw. And now she's got a pay-per-view match with Charlotte. And then Kendall goes, I'm not rushing anything. You know, I'm just, you know, I've still got a lot to learn in this business. I do consider myself one of the better wrestlers in the company. But I'm still finding my feet in WWE, and to get any opportunity to wrestle on Heat is a blessing. And whoever I wrestle against will be a great learning opportunity. And then Shayna Baszler walks in and goes, so humble, Kendall. That's the one thing out of you I've ever seen that I don't like. Because you're one hell of a killer. You know, you are, as you just said, probably the best pure wrestler in the NXT women's division. But you come up here and you're so humble. No, thrive. Be that killer. Okay? I love what I've seen from your ring work, but I think there's just another edge that needs to be brought out of you. So, coming up next, we're going to have a match. We're going to face Carmella here. I'm kind of like, what the fuck? And we're really going to see you try and bring that killer out. No offense. And Carmella goes, none taken, I guess, but I'm going to beat her and prove that she's not a killer. And then Shayna goes, and that will also do its job and prove that you're not ready to be a killer yet. So either way, it's a win-win. 61 rated match. Kendall does beat Carmella by a pinfall in 9:53. 34 for Kendall, 68 for Carmella, but, you know, it took her a while, and she wasn't emphatic about it, so who knows if Shayna was impressed by her killer instinct. Speaking of angles on Heat, Thunder Rosa was backstage when Blair Davenport and Iona Webb of the Unholy Union approached them. And Blair goes, it's so sickening looking at Thunder Rosa, the woman who claims she's from the graveyards of Tijuana, Mexico, becomes such a soft little bitch. Become a parent for Stephanie's little friend while she goes off doing the big girl stuff. Okay? You've got to babysit Catalina instead of being, well, Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa goes, well, part of being my job and of my experience is helping the next generation grow. And, you know, Catalina is the future, you know, Hispanic top star. And we're actually, you know, forming a team. Now, Stephanie's got other things to take care of. And we need to get some big wins under our belt, so how about tonight you put that money where your mouth is and you fucking fight us? And they're like, yeah, sure, bitch. Kind of, sort of, the same angle as the Kendall one, I just realised when booking it in, but oh well. 66 rated match. Ivy Nile defeats Kylan King in 6:52. 63 for Ivy Nile, 56 for Kylan King. Yeah, just from NXT, I need to give Ivy a nice little win. Been a while since I've seen her. She is sort of like the Heat general. I'm not going to say the ace of Heat, because that was Owie, you know. Who knows where she is? But Ivy is sort of, you know, holding down Heat. It's like her, Shayna and Carmella, the Page sisters, Lola and Mina. You know, these are the Heat generals that we see on Heat, like, more often than not. So, Ivy needs to get a nice little win. 76 rated main event. Thunder Rosa and Catalina do pick up the win over the Unholy Union. They're not called that, it's just by Davenport and Iona Webb. Thunder Rosa pins Iona Webb with a reverse DDT. 72 for Rosa and Catalina. 76 for Blair, and a 67 for Iona Webb. And that ends Heat. A little bit more happening on Heat this week, but there is some things that... one of these will play out on the main TV show, but one is a Heat angle. But yeah, other than that, what matters more is you thought of the show, mainly of Raw. And I'll see you next time for EC Dub. And I can't remember what we've announced for that show. I remember Aleister Black and Pistolero, and I remember Jacob and Finn. See you then.